lowest, greatest, highest, I will come to thee.
To give someone the benefit of the doubt is to believe something good about someone rather than something bad. Wiktionary defines it this way: a favorable judgment given in the absence of full evidence. In the game cricket, the principle employed by umpires in cases of uncertainty concerning a batsman's possibly being out, in which the decision must be in the batsman's favor. How many times have we jumped to conclusions about things we have seen or heard or thought we saw or heard? It almost seems natural in our society to assume the worst about a person or a perceived action, especially when you watch the news all the time, because they mainly focus on the negative. It's almost like they go out of their way to find every bad story they can, and unfortunately they rarely ever report on uplifting stories, mainly because the general public seems to tune in for bad news but not for good news. Something the world may not understand and that some Christians fail at doing is the fact that Christians aren't supposed to give people the benefit of the doubt. Our goal is to make our love for God and our love for others a priority in our lives. Notice what Paul says about love in 1 Corinthians 13 and verse number 4. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Paul says a lot of wonderful things about love, and we should all strive to focus on being driven by love. However, when Paul says that love believes all things, he didn't mean that we are to be gullible. After all, notice what Jesus tells his disciples when he sent them out on a limited commission. He said in Matthew 10:16, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." We are to use the wisdom that God has blessed us with to discern any situation. However, if we do not have strong evidence that a person is guilty of something, we should give them the benefit of the doubt. Lawyers certainly understand this because their job is to prove that their clients are not guilty of the crimes they are charged with, by showing that the evidence is simply not strong enough. So they will plead to the jury to give their clients the benefit of the doubt and to set them free. It is not easy sometimes to look at people and their actions in a favorable light because we have been programmed by our society to assume the worst about people. In the first century, many Christians struggled with giving Saul the benefit of the doubt when he claimed to be a disciple of Christ, as we read in Acts 9 and verse 26. And when Saul had come to Jerusalem, he tried to join the disciples, but they were all afraid of him and did not believe that he was a disciple. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles, and he declared to them how he had seen the Lord on the road, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Jesus. I want you to think about how challenging it would be to give someone like Saul the benefit of the doubt. He was a devout Pharisee, and he made it his goal in life to destroy Christianity. He was so zealous about doing this that he searched high and low for anyone who was a Christian. He would have them arrested, and when they were put to death, he would cast his vote against them. Now, would you really think a man like Saul could change his ways and become a Christian, the very thing he was trying to destroy? Well, many would not give him the benefit of the doubt, but Barnabas did. As Christians, we must learn to have the spirit of Barnabas and be willing to give people the benefit of the doubt. Because if he could give someone as notorious as Saul the benefit of the doubt, then we should be willing to do the same for others. When we allow ourselves to assume the best about people when there is no evidence to support otherwise, it can make a huge difference in that person's life. Every person wants to be given a chance to prove himself and not just be written off because of his past. We certainly know Saul's tainted past, and we also know what kind of great servant he becomes for the Lord. So who knows what kind of servant a person may become or great things they might accomplish if we learn to have the spirit of Barnabas and give people the benefit of the doubt.